Hello, welcome to the Wellness Lab podcast, where we are providing valuable insights for everyone in the audience to improve their overall wellness, have great tools and ideas to explore and apply to themselves. And today we have Ashley Smith, who is a speaker, psychologist, author, and she will let us know more about her personal experience and what drove her to become resilient, how mindset plays a big role in how you approach things, obstacles, and certain situations that we have no control over. And it's a great living example of how you can achieve great things. And it's just a matter of focusing, managing your thoughts, your mind, and there's lots of power that can be managed accordingly to achieve greatness. Over to you, and thanks for being here, Ashley. Happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. So, just to share a little bit about who I am and how I got to this place. By training, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. So that means giant nerd, spent many, many years learning about our brains, and specifically anxiety is my area of expertise. So learning about how anxiety works and what to do to be less anxious or to have more courage. And with that, I spent years working one-on-one with people, helping them overcome anxiety or doubt or insecurity to live better lives. And I certainly practice what I preach. I have really great anxiety management skills. I use them every single day. And then for me, I hit a point where my skills weren't working anymore, or it's not that they weren't working, they just weren't enough. And so on the personal side, I have a really rare degenerative retinal condition. So essentially I have a blind spot. It makes me legally and increasingly blind. And I spent most of my life dealing with this. I mean, I've had it since childhood, but it wasn't that bad. And I was able to really hide it and sort of fake being normal. I could pretend to have normal sight because I just listened and paid attention and used context clues. But about 10 years ago, my vision loss progressed, and doctors had said, we don't know what it is, but it's stable. It's not going to change. And surprise, it did. And so my vision started to really tank in my 20s. And then about 10 years ago, it hit this point where it was no longer safe for me to drive. And so I had to give up my car keys and say, I can't see well enough to do this anymore. And for me, that was a really low point because I truly believed I wouldn't be able to do the things I wanted to do, right? How do I have the career I want to have? How do I have the relationships and the life I want to have with this disability? And I really struggled. I hit this low point. My anxiety skills weren't enough. So that really drove me to do the only thing I know how to do, and that's turn to science. So I started looking at the science of happiness and how do we find happiness and find joy despite circumstances. There are no treatment options for me. I can't do anything about my vision. I don't know how bad it's going to get, but I knew I didn't want to be miserable for the rest of my life. So I used my clinical psychology skills. I used the science of happiness, and then fast forward, and here we are. My vision is worse than it's ever been, but I am happy. I am doing bigger, bolder things than I ever thought I could do in the before. And I will tell you, it is not about just being positive. I think that is terrible, terrible advice. And you could say like, oh, I'm just going to be positive. But at no point have I ever said, I'm so glad my retinas don't work. This is awesome. No, it's not about that. But it is about cultivating the resilience you need, the right mindset that you need, and the courage that you need to go and live life regardless of what gets thrown at you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ashley. And obviously, great to hear you overcame these feelings, and obviously the way you thought probably you could have gone the other way, and it's not the best outcome possible, but it's great you had science to back it up. And I love what you say, like, you can be positive in a way, but it's not just thinking positive will make a change. You have to take certain steps. You have to be brave, have the courage. And yes, it can be a decision, a hard thing to make, but also I was having another podcast, and it's like, choose your heart. It's also hard to stay suffering, to stay in pain, to just feel maybe you have no hope for the rest of your life. So everything takes an effort, and why not switching gears and turning things around to focus and obviously find joy and happiness on how things turn.
Absolutely. I love that phrase, choose your heart. I use that one a lot too, because it is about that. And I think what a lot of people don't realize, and one of the things that I talk about all of the time, and sort of my passion is helping people understand how their minds work. Because most people just move through life thinking that their mind is reflecting reality, right? We sort of trust that our mind is showing us the way things actually are. But that's not how it works. So our minds, they're designed to keep us alive. That's their number one job, keep us alive. And that's why we have anxiety. Anxiety is just our threat detection system saying like, whoa, something bad could happen here. But the thing is, our minds sort of take our experience, everything that we're seeing or feeling or hearing or experiencing, and then they're sort of jumping ahead. They're trying to predict what's going to happen next so they can keep us safe. And what that means is they jump to conclusions. They construct our reality. So they tell us these things are going to happen. So what this means is predictions, right? Our minds predict, oh, tomorrow this is what's going to happen, or down the road, or if I say this, this person is going to respond in this way. So our minds are making predictions. That's a guess. They set expectations. That's a guess. And they judge. They're like, this is good or this is bad. And that's the thing, those predictions and expectations and judgments, we confuse those as facts and we sort of take them as reality. Like for me, I believed wholeheartedly people are going to judge me because of my vision. I can't be independent and I can't be happy. Well, that's not true, right? Just because we think it doesn't mean it's true. And we have to start to recognize that so we can push back and challenge and say, really? Really? Are you sure? Prove it. And start to take those steps you were talking about, right? Start to challenge our minds and say, well, I'm gonna test this out and see what really happens. For me, I had to. When I stopped driving, all of a sudden I had to start telling people I'm visually impaired, whereas I had hidden it before. And when I started telling people, I said, prove it to my mind. And none of the bad things that I believed, that I was convinced were going to happen, happened. And that's what's really powerful. And I think that's the importance of mindset, is recognizing just because you think it doesn't mean that it's true or helpful.
Yes, and it's just as you mentioned, the stories we tell ourselves start driving
Mm.
us and taking us to places that sometimes have no connection to reality. Like if we start just digging
Mhm.
into, no, I can't do this, this is too hard, I am impaired, I can't do this because I don't have XYZ qualities, capacities, then we are putting ourselves ready for failure. Which, as you said, it depends a lot if how we drive our thoughts and the power our mind has. It's great, but we really have to have the right mindset to move forward and overcome that anxiety, those feelings about maybe I'm not good enough, I am not gonna have the support I need, or I'm not performing as I should. And sometimes the other things that I've noticed that can happen through lifetime is you think, just saying maybe with your coworkers, you might not be doing the best job or you might be lacking certain skill sets, but sometimes when you open and you show how you're feeling, or you ask for some let's say feedback, you get surprised on what they have been seeing on you, how you've evolved or grown if you started as an intern, let's say. So that part of opening yourself, and when you need support or when you're struggling, helps, because as well as you mentioned, if you don't tell others you have a visual impairment, or if you have, let's say, a disease, just to give an example, maybe sometimes you might feel it's not the best moment, but when you open yourself, then others that have certain knowledge or might have gone through that or know someone can give you the right resources or point you into the right direction. So it's really important, as you mentioned, to be brave to take the right steps, to share things, to be transparent in that way, because you will get more benefit out of it.
Absolutely. And you're touching on so many great things, but if I really boil it down to this is the simplest way to put it, I've spent 20 years studying and treating anxiety. And anxiety is the voice of something bad is going to happen, right? What if you get judged, you get embarrassed, you fail, you make a mistake, you get sick, you have a terrible time, you feel uncomfortable. It's all this, what if something bad happens? And so anxiety is, it's going to be terrible and you can't handle it. And the natural response when we feel anxious is to avoid or escape. And instead, you really have a choice. It's like a fork in the road. We call it a choice point in psychology. You can either go where anxiety tells you, or you can go, we would say like your values. So think of it, fear or your heart, right? And so anxiety is going to tell you avoid or escape. Don't do it. For me, it was hide. Don't take the chance. Don't be honest. Don't ask hard questions. Or you approach. And that's what you're talking about doing, right? Like maybe your mind is sitting there telling you, oh, you're doing a terrible job. Better not draw attention to it. People are going to notice. So we avoid and get quiet. Or we can be open. We can approach and say, hey, can you give me feedback? One of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to realize, oh, it's not that bad, which is my experience time and time and time again. Most of the time, anxiety gets it wrong. That bad thing doesn't happen. And in fact, sometimes really great things do. So that might be one outcome. If you're brave enough to approach or be open instead of avoid or close down, nothing bad happens. Or that bad thing does happen and you get a chance to realize, oh, I handled it. And what happens then? Your confidence goes up and then you're not so scared of things. So it really kind of boils down to avoid, like do what anxiety tells you, or don't. Go be brave, open up and do that scary thing. And it gets easier every single time you do it.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. So yeah, thank you, Ashley. And it's just probably another example when you are applying for a job. What's like the worst thing that can happen? You already have the no. So just go apply, show your best, prepare, and then things will just unfold the way they should, right?
Absolutely. We have such a hard time though with that. That's like you can tell yourself that, but you kind of have to prove it, right? Actions speak louder than words. So you have to go do those things and get the rejections so that you can really believe, okay, it's not the end of the world. It's not like it's fun. And this is where the just be positive doesn't really work because no one's going to go into like, oh, I didn't get that job I really wanted. That's great. No, it sucks. And you can handle it and move forward.
And then how you come, like you come out of it, you can say like, oh, I'm not meant to have a job, I'll just stay homeless or just do nothing, or just learn from it and build resilience and know there might be something even better for you. And if you didn't prepare or you don't have these skill sets, what can you do, right? As you said, like you can go study, have another thing that will be applicable, but know that depends on you, on taking bold moves and not thinking just like, oh, well, a better thing will happen to me next. It's just, I'm just going to sit here and wait
Absolutely.
for everything to align.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right that it comes back to what's in my control. Well, I get to control my actions and I get to control my attitude. So my mind's going to be chattering. It's going to be saying that, well, you're never going to get a job. You know, if we go with that example, you'll never get a job. This is terrible. There's nothing you can do. And I have a choice in that moment, not necessarily to quiet my mind. It's going to do what it's going to do, but I get to choose to listen to it or not. I am going to choose not to at this point and to say, well, okay, like you said, am I just going to sit here and wait? No one's knocking on your door saying, here, have your dream job. You have to go chase it, right? You have to take steps to do it. And that's something that's in your control. And you can take those steps even if you feel scared, even if you feel unsure, and even if you feel anxious, we can still go do those things. And that is the most powerful way to overcome anxiety, is to go face it and do it anyways.
Yes, thank you, Ashley. And one other thing that I wanted to bring to the conversation is your book. You have a great book available for anyone that is interested to learn more and to do it, let's say, how the approach you take and how you can support others. I'll let you speak upon it. We're sharing below details on how to get a free chapter to listen to it or to read it. There's many options you can get it, obviously paperback, digital, audio, which is amazing because not everyone loves to sit down or has time. Others prefer that format, but having all the options available help anyone interested in learning more.
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing that up. So it's called The Way I See It, A Psychologist's Guide to a Happier Life. And it is little short chapters that are really like having a conversation with your best friend who happens to be a therapist. So it's real talk. It's not fluffy at all, but it's also, I think, really relatable. And it's designed, you can pick it up, you can read the chapter you need, set it down, and keep going. And it's everything that I wish everyone knew about how our minds work, how to build resilience, and how to find happiness despite whatever circumstances life throws at you.
Great. Thank you, Ashley. And anyone interested below, you can find the links. And the other thing that caught my attention is you are supporting organizations, which is great, right? Like providing value or supporting others shows a lot about who you are and how much you care.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really involved with the Disabled But Not Really, a nonprofit here in Kansas City that's designed to help people live with confidence despite disability. And then the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, which is my professional home and dedicated to anxiety and depression and helping people overcome those conditions.
Thank you. Amazing, Ashley. Great, great job there. And we're getting close to the end, but one of the things that I would like to ask you would be what is maybe a key, probably thing that went through your mind while overcoming these, let's say, thoughts on your mind that you might not be able to go through your life or become a speaker, a book writer that you are
Mhm.
today, and whatnot. What went through your mind, or what gave you the most support through the time to overcome it and become who you are right now and have that courage, resilience, and obviously become the person you are today? I find if there's anyone struggling and going through a hardship or not finding that right spark in their inner person, what would you advise
Mhm.
them?
There, honestly, it's a lot. I wish I could say, here's the one thing to do, but I can say, here were a few things that were really helpful for me. One was finding a mentor, even from afar. I didn't know anyone visually impaired growing up except my grandmother, and she did not, loved her dearly, did not live the kind of life that I wanted to live. And so I found someone through, it was a TED Talk, and I happened to see he was blind and wildly successful. And so it was nice to find proof that this is possible. So whatever it is you're wanting to do, whatever kind of life it is you're wanting to lead, find role models. It doesn't even have to be someone that you talk to, but you just need a role model that you can start to say, well, what would they do? Or what would it look like if I followed in their footsteps? The second thing is that experiment. Try it out. So often our minds make those predictions and they tell us it's not going to work. I want proof. So go try it out. Do the scary thing. Stretch your comfort zone. That is probably the best advice I can give is if it makes you anxious, go do it. And if you can live your life in that way, anxiety says no, watch me. There's nothing you can't do. So those would be the two really big things that I would say.
Thank you. Thanks, Ashley. And I find like pushing your limits, your boundaries, and uh, like just going out of that comfort zone really rings a bell. Like for me, getting into this
Mhm.
podcast and creating things, being brave at the camera, speaking to others and whatnot has helped me a lot. And I've been finding gratification on helping others, on showcasing what you do, how you serve others, and in general with the guests I have. So thank you for that and greatly appreciate it. Lovely to have you here today,
Absolutely.
Ashley. And well, all the best. And let's keep doing bold movements.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Have a great afternoon.